Hello everybody, my name is Tristan Folks, and today we will be doing a ratings video rating NASCAR Throwback paint schemes for 2025 ahead of the NASCAR Cup Series racing at Darlington Raceway for the Goodyear 400. My hair probably doesn't look too good here, but I also have my own little throwback hat on. It's a Dale Jarrett 1999 hat from my granddad, so I try to wear this one once a year. Also, all of these ratings are respectfully my own opinions. I understand we all have our own opinions and thoughts, and I made sure to keep this unbiased as I want to be a very unbiased person, and I hope I can show that to you. Before we get into rating the paint schemes, I just recently won in my NASCAR Fantasy League last weekend at Martinsville. After we rate the paint schemes, I will give you my pre-picks for Darlington, and then I will also post those on Twitter, what the final ones will be right before the green flag. My Twitter/X will also be in the description below, so check it out. Starting off with number 19, we have Zane Smith's Long John Silver's throwback car. If you remember Michael McDowell running a car like this last year, that's exactly what this is, but it says a number 38 on it. I don't really have to say anything about this. So for number 18, we have Christopher Bell. This is a throwback to Rick Farrell, which is his mentor. It's not a bad car, I just don't really like it so much. I support throwing it back to your mentor, but I don't know, it just doesn't fit for me. I see the yellow in there, and then we have the orange and the gray. I saw a picture of what this is throwing back to. I just couldn't really so much put it together. So moving on to number 17, we have John Hunter Nemechek throwing back to his dad when he ran a paint scheme like this in 1998. It just really does not work with these Dollar Tree colors. It just doesn't. They could have made it a white base, but instead they went with a black base. And you know, the colors don't really match up. You can give them credit for trying for sure, but for me, these Dollar Tree colors and the choices they definitely use here, it just doesn't work out for me. So it's not a bad throwback, but the colors are just, they don't work. Moving on to number 16, we have Chase Elliott, who is throwing back to Ken Schrader from 1994. You know, I'm going to blame the sponsor here completely. This could have been done much better. I don't see what the problem was the other years where these colors have to be like the sponsor, but this one pretty much blew this one pretty bad. It's not a bad looking car, but the sponsor probably should have worked with the throwback a lot more like they have in other years, but this time they just didn't go with it. Moving on to number 15, we have Alex Bowman doing the 2012 Jimmy Johnson Darlington win throwback, which is a throwback to the Lowe's Cobalt Tools Chevrolet that he ran back in the day, the black car. And it's not bad. The things I don't like is the Ally sponsor on the hood, like it's other cars. I just don't like it. And the other thing is also going to do with the Ally logo on the side next to the number. It cuts into the design a little. I don't really like that either. And also personally for myself, for this paint scheme gave me scary vibes that I just didn't like in my lifetime. So don't blame me. I was just a little kid back in the day, but you know, they kind of stick with you. Going on to number 14, we have Cody Ware with his Ward Burton and Tommy Baldwin Jr. throwback, the typical Caterpillar throwback. I'm just used to seeing this in concept like this, where I just think I'm tired of seeing it. I understand Tommy Baldwin Jr. has a role with Rick Ware Racing. It's not a bad car at all, like I probably said about all these other ones, but I think it's just a matter I'm tired of just seeing this design over and over. So that's really the why, but I'm sure it'll look good on the track. Moving on to number 13, and I promise this is no offense to this driver, but we have Austin Cindric, who is throwing it back to Dale Earnhardt when he ran the 2 car. For me personally, I like all the other Dale Earnhardt cars. I don't really like this one. I'm happy that Freightliner finally decided to go with a throwback for Austin Cindric, but it's okay. There's just a lot of space, you know what I'm saying? It's just kind of bland for me. I don't like the blue and the yellow for this one. I like the Wrangler blue and yellow, but for this one it's just so much lighter. and I just don't like it that way, if you can understand where I'm coming from. There's just still many more paint schemes that I prefer for Dale Earnhardt, but I'm sure a lot of other people will rate this higher, but personally that's my reasoning. Moving on to number 12, we have Todd Gilliland running the 34, which is a throwback for Ray Fox. We're starting to get into some good throwbacks now. One of the pit crew members for Todd Gilliland, actually great grandson of Ray Fox, so that's a throwback to him. So I hope they're really fast this week with their pit stops. But other than that, I really like this car. The sponsor really played into this one well, even with the font. Overall, it's a pretty nice paint scheme. I don't really have too much to say about it, but starting into the real good stuff. Moving on to number 11, we have another Front Row Motorsports car that we have not talked about yet, and that is Noah Gragson running the number 4, which is a throwback to Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s first career NASCAR Xfinity Series start. Noah Gragson used to run for Junior Motorsports in the Xfinity Series, and now we get to see a throwback like this. Big fan of the number font here. That was a big one that stuck out for me. It also gives a little Dale Earnhardt vibes too, but switch the white and the red a bit around and you'll see what I'm talking about completely. And overall, the sponsor once again played to it well. They got a little creative with the hood. I don't know if I like the hood too much, but overall, it's a very clean paint scheme. Big fan of it, and I hope they do well this weekend. Moving into the top 10 with number 10 here, we have Cole Custer doing a throwback to Jimmy Spencer. Overall, with this paint scheme, I'm a big fan of how they use their own sponsor here, yet they managed to literally bring in everything from this Target paint scheme into the paint scheme for this weekend, so they nailed this right on the top. You can see where the circular Haas logo was placed and how they tried to get it very identical, and then where they used the Haas text, so they did a really good job with this paint scheme and should look really good on the racetrack. Moving on to number 9, we have Denny Hamlin doing the Carl Edwards throwback from 2005. I really like this paint scheme because, for one, my favorite color is red, if you couldn't probably already tell. And 2, I really like Carl Edwards back in the day. This paint scheme doesn't look 100% accurate to what it was, but it's close enough. I'm sure Progressive wanted to make sure their brand stood out there a little more, so that could just be the reasoning there for all we know. But overall, this paint scheme looks really good. This is a car that 100% could be in victory lane this weekend without a doubt. We'll see if he can bring the Carl Edwards vibes to the victory lane and turn Darlington to Darlington. On to number 8, we have a car that I personally don't really have much of a connection to, but it sounds like a lot of other people do. And this one will be Kyle Larson with this Terry Labonte throwback based off the Kellogg's paint scheme that Terry Labonte used to run back in the day for Hendrick. I really like this car, and the sponsor got really creative with this one too. Overall, it just really matches up really well. Personally, I wouldn't even think that Hendrick Cars is sponsoring this race car, but the reality is they are. The thing maybe I don't like on this car is the hood just being a little generic there. You could maybe got a little more creative. I've heard some ideas, but other than that, they did indeed get creative with the rest of the car with their own little slogans on the side instead of the Kellogg's slogans and stuff on the side. And overall, this is a car that could be in victory lane too, and hopefully the Terry Labonte paint scheme he ran last year, which gave him bad luck, this one hopefully does not give him bad luck either. Moving on to number 7 here. I don't know what a lot of you will think about this paint scheme, but I'm going to throw this one up here. And this one is going to be Josh Berry with his IndyCar throwback to Jim Clark all the way back to 1965. For me personally, I just really like how this paint scheme was completed. They made sure to take literally every aspect from the paint scheme over to this car. They did with the number, even the circle around it, the yellow stripe, how they made it look just like the front of the car, and you put on a stock car, it looked really good. Big fan of how they changed up the wording a little to do Wood Brothers Racing powered by Ford. Really smart, really enjoy that a lot. So honestly, they really maximize on this paint scheme. It's unique and I like it. It's not something we see every day. More like something we probably won't see every year. Moving on to number 6, we have a big one of the car that I saw race in person for the first time. And this is going to be William Byron at number 6, representing Jeff Gordon in his final ride car in 2015 when he was going for that championship. This was a car that everyone wanted to see. I remember how big of a race that was for all the fans being there, how electric it was when Jeff Gordon went to go take the lead for about a lap, I believe. This was a good send-off and a lot of good memories being at the racetrack with my mom, who's never been to Homestead until that, so it was very cool. It brings back some family memories. Moving on to number 5, and I think I got a surprising one for you. And this one is going to be Ty Dillon doing a throwback to Patty Moyes in 1989. And you're going to wonder, it's just a white car. You know what I really like about this? This sponsor just came back completely and they said, hey, we're going to sponsor a race. And sure, they're now called Beaver Street Fisheries and not Beaver Street Food. But it helped make the side of the car because the text is longer so much better, honestly. So overall, I thought they absolutely killed it. They brought literally everything back from this paint scheme. They even did a really nice number too. And like literally everything from this paint scheme is here. It makes me really happy to see this happening, because this is what I feel we should be seeing on throwback weekends. So shout out to Ty Dillon, Collie Grayson for getting this deal done and the sponsor. Y'all rock. Moving on to number 4, and this was a driver we were waiting to see. Is he going to have a paint scheme so we have 50% of the cars running throwbacks? And the answer is yes, and that driver's name is JJ Yaley. I remember going on Twitter about 2 days ago, I'm like, are they running a paint scheme? Let me go look. There it was. And wow. They absolutely knocked this one out of the park. And another thing I like too is the sponsor Wawa coming on board. It's a bigger sponsor, so that's why I really like this. And overall, they just absolutely killed this paint scheme. The number is a little meh, but overall, I just really like this. This absolutely gives off Bill Elliott vibes, which is who he is, throwing back to the Chorus car. And unfortunately, they're probably going to start 38th. That would be a good one to say, but we'll see where they finish. Be nice if they get a top 30 finish, but that probably won't happen. We'll see. Moving on to number 3, and you've probably wondered, where is my favorite driver? Well, I'm a little sad about this one, but I really was between 2 and 3, and I put my favorite driver, Joey Logano, at number 3, doing a throwback to Cale Yarborough in 1976. Massive fan of how they did this car. It looks just like it. They got everything completely right on this car. They got the logos right. I like how they did the number 2. It's the same font as the Austin Cindric car from what I can tell. They even used the old Pennzoil logo, which is what I was from logos. The Shell logo is good how it is, and it's fine if the associate sponsors are normal how it is. That's completely okay. So overall, I really love this paint scheme, but I'm going to get into one here that I really thought about, and we'll get right into it. Moving on to number 2 here, and we talked about sponsors causing paint schemes to look pretty bad, but this one, I had to really think about this one. And I decided that Ryan Blaney is going to be sitting at number 2. This car is a throwback to his dad in 2006, who is Dave Blaney, as I'm sure a lot of you know. It's an Xfinity Series throwback. So overall, the colors did have to change. Instead of that darker yellow, we have that Menards yellow, and then we used the Dutch Boys blue instead of the green for the avocado sponsor. But they were able to bring this red, and they brought a really sick number. And overall, I really thought about it. Do I like this? Do I really not like this? Should it be ahead of Joey Logano? Should it not be ahead of Joey Logano? I decided that I just really like how everything works. The sponsor played into this very well while keeping this complete identity of this paint scheme. It just absolutely rocks. The colors just work great, much better than Haas Avocado's paint schemes. And what you've been waiting for, we have Eric Jones with his Advent Health Toyota. And at first I said, I don't know, but when I looked at this the second time and every other time, I said, this one has to be number one. It's a throwback to John Andretti from 1998. And I just love it. I remember seeing a lot of die casts for this. I'm like, oh, this looks really cool. So overall, it just looks great. The color scheme, bringing the petty blue. I love how the roof number is just how I remember it, and how that red just works in greatly as a secondary color for this paint scheme. And at first I was like, how is this Advent Health sponsor going to work? But you know, it works just fine. You may not like it too much on the hood, but overall, they absolutely slammed this one out of the park. And Eric Jones is really good at Darlington, so this should give him a lot of momentum, and we'll see if they can try this play spoiler like they have before. So that's my ratings for all 19 Cup Series paint schemes running this weekend. There's a lot of really sick NASCAR Xfinity Series paint schemes that are going to be running as well over the weekend, so make sure you tune in to that race. A lot of good Cup regulars will be racing there too. And now I'm going to share with you my pre-race picks for Darlington, which will also be associated with my fantasy picks. Robinson back to Martinsville. I don't know if we're going to be able to replicate a performance like that to finish in the top 1,600 in the world and have all your drivers finish first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, with the matter of a matchup between Chase Briscoe and Ross Chastain not working out by a matter of 2 spots, and Joey Logano finding a top 10 finish. Alright, for Darlington, these are what I am going with, and I'll usually study what happens during the practice and qualifying, and I'll read statistics. But going into Darlington for my pre-picks, as I looked into numbers from last year and everything, my 5 starters, we're going to have Kyle Larson. I'm going to do Christopher Bell, which I see a lot of people aren't so much featuring him, but he has been really good at Darlington, and maybe he just hasn't really shown that he's much of a winner there in the Cup Series, but that's fine. We also have Chase Briscoe, who I think will have his best running for Joe Gibbs Racing. We have Denny Hamlin coming off that Martinsville win. I have Tyler Reddick returning to the lineup for the first time since probably Miami, which that wasn't even that long ago. And then in the garage right now, we have William Byron if we have to pull him out. I left him in the garage at Martinsville last week, and it worked out greatly. So it's a good thing is when you have a competitive amount of drivers, you can leave a driver behind and, you know, you get to save their usage. So I'm at 6 usages right now for Reddick and Byron. So not so bad with, there's still a lot of races to go, I'm going to be honest. But at least it helps you a little more. I'm not going to get into the matchups here as those could change, but I just want to give you a little of what I like to do every week. Other than that, I hope y'all enjoy the Darlington race weekend as I will myself, and I hope you ended up enjoying this ratings video. I will be at Talladega at the end of the month, and then I'll upload one more NASCAR video before Easter. It'll be my thoughts on the season from Homestead, Miami, all the way to Bristol, which Bristol is next weekend. So other than that, I hope y'all have a great day and enjoy your weekend. Take care.